Hi, my name is Matthew Singer, and today I am presenting What Motivates Entrepreneurs to Start a Business. As I recently watched a documentary, Generation Wealth by Lauren Greenfield, I thought about my research in entrepreneurship and the reasons why the entrepreneurs I spoke with for my study on survival strategies for information technology startups beyond 5 years. I recall that none of the entrepreneurs started their businesses because they wanted to become wealthy. Rather, they started businesses to solve a problem. The idea of starting a business to become rich is most likely a recipe for failure. In this presentation, I will present the ideas of mission and vision and the underlying focus that entrepreneurs should consider when starting a business to even have a slight chance of success. Lauren Greenfield's Generation Wealth documentary examined how individuals use fame to gain success, and how the measure of success is based on how much money is attained. The documentarian featured several individuals whom she had photographed and chronicled over the years, and how their ideas of success had changed from the early days. Each of the individuals featured started out wanting fame and fortune and had pursued careers, some legitimate, others questionable, to attain as much money as possible. In the documentary, most, if not all, those featured regretted their initial desires and wants in lieu of a lack of purpose and or sustainment of money. The type of pursuit showcased in the documentary contrasts with the entrepreneurial spirit of building a company focused on solving a problem and creating an environment which fosters growth through innovation, develops relationships both within and outside the enterprise, and maintains a focus on attaining sustainability and longevity of the business. We have some key terms that I want to outline here, and those are: entrepreneurship is defined as any small enterprise where the individual is self-employed, groups of individuals who form a partnership or corporate entity and employs less than 100 people. Success is defined as attaining a desired goal, profitability, gains and access to information leading to increased market capacity. Vision is defined as the projection of future things to come, a goal or the place in which an enterprise desires to be within the marketplace. Mission is defined as the methods, processes, and objectives company management uses to reach a particular vision. Entrepreneurship is not about wealth, but wealth creation. One may think that an entrepreneur is an individual who desires to become wealthy through the creation of a business, selling a product or service that leads to riches beyond one's belief. If you look at the landscape of individuals within Silicon Valley, you see people such as Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Sergey Brin, and Larry Page, and a host of other lesser-known individuals who became fabulously wealthy because of an idea that they were able to capitalize on and create large corporations which made them enormously wealthy. In fact, all the individuals listed above did not start out with the notion of gaining money and power. Rather, these individuals started out with an idea or need. Mark Zuckerberg started out with the need to meet women, and thus created a social network at Harvard by which to make that a reality. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started with an idea to make a better computer with an easy-to-use interface that would surpass the current computing power on the market at the time. Sergey Brin and Larry Page desired to develop a system using the internet to link web pages to facilitate easier access to searching the World Wide Web. The person who runs the neighborhood convenience store down the street started the business because of a need, one in which the individual did not have to answer to a corporate entity, or from a need to feed his or her family, or because no such stores existed within the immediate area. Entrepreneurs start businesses because of a need, want, or desire to create an enterprise that solves a particular problem. In the case of the store owner, which represents most individuals who start entrepreneurial enterprises, the need has to do more with feeding one's family over a desire for change within the society at large. Wealth from entrepreneurial ventures is not as common as one may hope. While there are plenty of examples of individuals who became extremely wealthy, money-wise, from their entrepreneurial idea, most do not. But that does not mean that wealth is not present. And I am not speaking of monetary wealth, but the wealth derived from providing for your family or the satisfaction gained from a hard day's work where you set the course of your life. The path of entrepreneurship and the creation of wealth. As I previously stated, entrepreneurship starts with an idea or a need. Typically, the best idea or need is to solve a problem common to others within the community or society we live, such that the idea is scalable. Meaning, as the idea grows, more and more people can buy into the product or service that is being sold, and thus there is a greater opportunity for a business to turn a profit, which is the primary reason why investors fund the idea and thus generate gains. A key concept here is scalability. Investors in entrepreneurial ventures require opportunity to make profits at an exponential pace in a short period of time. I want to ensure you that you do not misunderstand the idea of scalability with the concept of success or of the business turning a profit. Profit is that outcome whereby a business makes money after all the bills are paid and there is money left over when the revenues minus expenses are deducted and money is left over. Success was previously defined as reaching a desired goal, not whether I have money in the bank, although in capitalist society, money is typically a measure of success. But here, we define success as the means to reach a desired goal. Facebook did not show a profit until years after the company went public. Uber just showed a profit with the current quarter of doing business, and it went public a couple years ago. Amazon did not show a profit for almost 20 years, but has grown into one of the largest and most profitable companies on the planet, making Jeff Bezos the richest man on earth. In other words, profit and success are not synonymous. Entrepreneurs and investors, a dichotomy. You may be asking yourself the question, and rightfully so, if an entrepreneurial venture does not show a profit until years after the company goes public, then why do investors invest, and how do they make their money? Investors seed startups with capital, many different startups. Each startup an investor invests in has the potential for making a lot of money, as the idea is thought to be scalable and based on the management teams coupled with the idea there is a chance that investors will see a return on their investment. Most startups, somewhere upwards of 80%, will fail within 5 years, meaning that at some point within the 5-year period, the business will no longer exist. The initial belief that the idea was scalable, or due to the mismanagement of the firm, the enterprise will no longer exist, and any potential for a large payer will no longer succeed. I want to caution you here that even though investors may inject a sizable sum into a firm and the firm does not survive, that does not mean that the investors have not made money along the way, either by hedging their bets or by selling the shares in the company at the next round of financing, or someone else comes along and decides to buy them out where the initial investor is able to make a profitable return. But what happens to the entrepreneur in this process? Has the entrepreneur seen success or failure? That depends on what motivates the entrepreneur to start in the first place, and whether the vision originally set forth is realized or not, or maybe that vision was only partially realized. Entrepreneurial purpose. Remember that entrepreneurs start business to solve a problem resulting from a need to be fulfilled. If the entrepreneur starts out to make a lot of money so that one day he or she will never have to work again and the business fails, then success has become elusive. But if the entrepreneur starts out to generate wealth, and through the process of the entrepreneurial journey, the individual was able to make a living such that he or she and the family could survive and thrive, then maybe success was generated. I recently spoke with an entrepreneur at a dinner party. He was on his third startup. The other two had not gone as planned, but he was still at it. I asked him why he continued to work in the startup environment with all the pitfalls and avenues for failure more prominent than financial success, and his answer was simple. I don't want to work for someone else, and I love the challenge and excitement. I did not get that sense that he was wealthy in terms of money, certainly not as wealthy as my friend who I was sitting with at dinner, whose husband who had made a boatload of money from the number of startups he had been involved, but the entrepreneur was not poor. He and his family lived in Woodside, had acquired enough money to fix up their house in the way they wanted it, but instead decided to invest that money in his new venture. He now works out of his garage, and he appeared to be content with what he was accomplishing and the prospects for the future. Entrepreneurial vision and mission. Let's return to the idea in which we started, entrepreneurial vision and mission. Vision is what allows entrepreneurs to dream, to have an idea and see that idea become a real. Mission is how the entrepreneur struggles to make the vision happen. To find some success as an entrepreneur, you need to have patience, perseverance, and a lot of luck. During the course of the interviews I conducted for my doctoral study, each of those interviews had a clear and concise idea of what they wanted to accomplish. Some of them had an idea of how to accomplish it, mainly because they were serial entrepreneurs, and this was not their first rodeo. Others were not even thinking in terms of scalability, but someone else came along and said, "You have a great idea and I'm willing to fund it." Luck or connections or the relationships you build in your career or life's journey play an integral role in whether you will find the capital necessary to begin on the entrepreneurial journey. Along the way, most entrepreneurs face grave challenges. Will there be enough money to meet payroll? Will competition beat me out? Or will the investors tire of my idea because we did not reach the growth potential we anticipated, and so now is the time to throw in the towel? These are questions that affect the mission of the enterprise, but not the vision. Entrepreneurs develop strategies which are the steps taken to reach the goal. Strategies can change over time and the goals can change, but the vision should stay constant, up until the point that the vision becomes reality and it's time for a new vision, or the vision ceases to exist because the strategies used along the way, the mission is no longer relevant or expired. Wrapping it up, I would like to wrap up this presentation by returning to Lauren Greenfield's Generation Wealth documentary. In the documentary, all the participants Greenfield chronicled had returned to either their childhood homes or had moved on to a more sedentary, normal existence, and most likely would not have that grand vision of having money. But the question is whether they experienced wealth. This might be a philosophical question that I cannot answer, but when I contrast the experience these people had, the visions of wealth, with that of the entrepreneur, I can say that the missing ingredient is purpose, or solving a real-world problem did not exist. Entrepreneurs do not always succeed at what they set out to do, and often they do not reach the desired conclusion. But some of the entrepreneurs that I spoke with for my study continue to believe in solving the problem and keep the vision alive that what they are doing and creating will have a real-world application and provide a service to the customer. Measuring success based on how much money you attain is not as valuable as the wealth of information and experience that you hopefully will attain along the way as you embark on your entrepreneurial journey.